Hi, everyone. I am Julia Carlson. I'm an entrepreneur, and we are here today talking about my next book, Let's Get You Fired. Today, I have with me Jennifer Webster, who is my VP of People and Operations, and she's also a fractional executive consultant in Freedom Business Solutions. Do you want to share a little bit more?
Yeah, I have been with Financial Freedom for about 3.5 years. As Julia mentioned, VP of People and Operations, which has been an amazing experience with the team. And I've been really honored to be able to be a part of our other company, Freedom Business Solutions, and helping with that fractional CHRO role so I can help other businesses really feel the amazing experience that I've had over at Financial Freedom.
Yeah, so we're going to talk more about that because
Mhm.
basically this book, Let's Get You Fired, is for entrepreneurs that want to grow and scale their business to 8 figures and beyond, specifically by letting go,
Mhm.
aka firing yourself and leading with vision.
Yeah.
And so the frameworks that I talk about in this book actually come alive in our consulting services inside Freedom Business Solutions.
That's great. Well,
Yeah.
I'm excited to dig in and learn more about the book, Julia, and what inspired this book for you in a little more detail. But I can clearly tell that you fired yourself with financial freedom and those lessons you're sharing with other businesses.
Yeah.
Uh,
Many times, over and
yes.
over.
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and start asking some questions. And the first one is the title is provocative. Let's get you fired. What does that mean, and why did you choose it?
Yes. So I think this came up first when I was coaching other entrepreneurs, just, mentoring and helping them. And I remember one day I'm like, you just need to get yourself fired. You need to fire yourself. And the person that I was coaching thought it was actually really funny, but it was so true.
Yeah.
And so the whole idea is that in business, as you grow and scale your business, you constantly become different versions of yourself. So you have to let go of the old version. You have to stop doing what you used to do to start doing things that the business needs as you level up and grow. So Let's Get You Fired is simply just a playful phrase. I like playful phrases, like my
Yeah.
first book, Money Loves You.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's simply a phrase just to remind yourself, hey, you don't have to do it all. You can
Mhm.
let go and get help and allow others to come beside you to grow and scale your business.
That's great. Good. Thank you for that. What problems were you seeing repeatedly with business
Ah,
owners that made you feel this book needed to be written now?
yeah. So I think for a lot of entrepreneurs, they get used to doing what needs to be done to make the business successful. And what gets you to 1 million in revenue are the exact same things that will hold you back scaling further than that.
Mhm.
So you have to reinvent your position, you have to reinvent yourself as the leader and keep growing, and you have to let go of things that
Mhm.
you only once did.
Yeah. And after 25 years, you have learned some of these lessons along the way. So thank you for sharing them in your book. So, Julia, 2 books, 2 years. Not many people write 2 books in 2 years. And so your first book a few years ago was Money Loves You, and now you have Let's Get You Fired. What's the connection between the two?
Yeah, well, both of them are based on my personal experience. Number one, with building financial independence and how I work with money. And then Let's Get You Fired is essentially my business story and
Yeah.
how I have learned and gone through the stages of business to build my 8 figure business. And so I feel like Money Loves You is almost like a looking back. It's been like my life story and in building a wealth management firm and working with thousands of people and helping them with their money story and
Mhm.
building their financial futures. That's like I had to almost close that chapter like okay, let me write about this. Let me get my thoughts and my experience out there, and then this next book came in right after that because that's like my life's work is to
Mhm.
help other entrepreneurs, not only with their money, but also with helping them build a business that has transferable value that they can, they're building this biggest asset most
Mhm.
likely in their net worth. And how do we make sure that that's something that they can sell one day if they choose to, or pass on to their children? I mean, there's a lot of different exit strategies, but the bottom line is how do they, they didn't go into business to go broke.
Right.
You go into business to build something, to build a life, to build freedom, to build the privileges that we have as successful business owners. And I think, the hope is that they take these lessons that I talk about, and it helps build financial independence and wealth for them. And that ultimately it gives them a life of more freedom.
That's wonderful. Thanks for bridging that connection. So, what does being fireable actually look like in a healthy, successful business?
Oh, that's a good question. You know what? No one likes to be fired. It doesn't feel good to be fired in the normal sense. And so I feel like being willing to be fired is that you don't have to control every aspect of your business. Because a lot of times when we come into businesses, the founder is like controlling everything, but to their own demise. But they don't see that oftentimes. And so it's like if they can let go of control and allow others to own pieces of the business, then that allows the mind share of the founder to step back and lead with vision in a different way. And so that transition's hard. Probably the biggest part of this book is part 2, which is surrender. It was the last part of the book that I wrote because it's the hardest. And it's what I struggled with for many years. I think when I timed it out, it was about 12 years that I was in this process of trying to still hold on to control, but also try to grow and build the business. And those actually compete with each other. So you have to let go of control so you can truly be in charge of the company and the future that you're building.
Yeah, good. Well, you've modeled that really well. You've empowered so many people in your own business, so you can level up and be the strategist.
Yes. Now I've got it. Nah, I'm firing myself from that. I love people, but I do not like to manage. And so I learned early on that I'm not a great manager. I'm a great leader, but not a great manager. And so, hiring people of your caliber that can come in and are great managers has been instrumental in my success.
That's great. What are the most common mistakes business owners make that prevent them from letting go?
I think because I can speak from my own experience because I made these mistakes, but it was, staying in the weeds, I like to call it, for way too long. And so before we built my new office, my old office was one level and all our offices were together. So when a client walked in, I would hear every conversation. When the phone rang, I'd hear all the calls. And actually that was really hard for me because I would want to say, oh, answer the question this way, or, oh, wait a minute, I think this is the answer. And so I would just interject myself. And that was harmful to the staff because it was like I wasn't trusting them. And so now it's like I don't hear conversations that happen every day. I'm not involved in all the client meetings. If there's a problem, I'm going to hear about it, but not the day-to-day stuff that I tried to control and hold on to so long. And so I think a lot of owners, even though, they may say they trust their team, there's a difference between really allowing them to embody and own their end results of their role.
Yeah, great. You've done that well. If a business owner reading this book could only implement one change, what would you want it to be?
Fire themselves. Find one thing that they can either let go of, that they can, stop doing, delegate to someone else, or automate, find an AI tool, find some way that you can automate the things that you're doing that you don't need to be involved in anymore.
Can you share a real life example of a business owner who applied these principles and what changed for them?
Let me think about this. Yeah, I think of an entrepreneur that I started helping with about 18 months ago, and she was probably around 600,000 or 700,000 in revenue, and we just closed her books for last year, and she was at 2 million. And I think one of the things one of the key hires that she made was someone that owned operations, because rarely are the founders the best at operations. And that's typically the first thing you want to fire yourself from. And what we find is that, as founders, we're really good. We give tasks. Hey, do this, send this email, call this person, as opposed to, hey, I'm going to hire this person and this person is in charge of all of the operations. Then you don't even have to make any of those decisions. And so that hire helped her free up. So she had the bandwidth to go be on stages, to go do the work that she does with her clients and not worry about the operations of her company. Yeah. So
great.
one hire helped her scale to multiple seven figures.
Yeah, and stay in her sweet spot. And
Exactly.
Right, that's awesome. How does building a business that can run without you change not just your company, but your personal life as well?
Oh man, yeah. I think when you apply the principles from this book, you get your personal life back, and it doesn't happen overnight, but with time that you take to build the structure and build the systems into your business, you can actually go on vacation. Like, I've gone on vacation for 2 weeks and I haven't checked my email, and that's actually really healthy.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important as business owners. There's a chapter in my book called Wired Weird. We do have a different, work ethic and energy level and passion that we want to work on projects we want to create. But we also need downtime, because if we're on that, I call it toxic hustle. If we're doing too much of that and we're not giving our nervous systems, our lives really a break. And so, I think the idea of this book is that you can have both. It's not one or the other, because we hear so many stories about successful entrepreneurs. Yeah, they made all the money, but they, have no family, or they get a divorce, or they're disconnected from their kids, or, it's like the goal is wholeness. The goal is to have a successful business and have rich relationships. And so the whole idea of firing yourself is that you're receiving help from others that are just excited about your vision, that they are using their skill set, so they're happy, they're in their sweet spot, and that you as the owner can enjoy life and enjoy the fruits of your labor.
Yeah, that's wonderful. What a blessing. What do you hope a reader feels after finishing Let's Get You Fired?
Liberated. that there is a way that they can have it all.
Yeah.
Right? They can build this thriving business, and they can have a personal life that thrives. They can have relationships, that they can do all the things that they want to do in life. And so that it doesn't happen overnight, right? But it's that it can happen.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. If someone in the audience is thinking, this sounds all great, but where do I start?
Good question. I would have them start with a hustle audit. And so the hustle audit is a tool that we built for entrepreneurs that are feeling overwhelmed. They're feeling like they don't know where to start. And it's something that I like to do when we onboard private clients as well, because we want to get a feel of all the things that they're doing in over a 10-day period. And so the hustle audit is essentially an inventory of all the things that you do. Because as founders, we do all the things in our business, but then we have all the things in our personal life. Yeah. And so Let's Get You Fired is not just for business, but it's also for your personal life. Are you doing things that you can outsource or delegate or automate in your personal life as well? Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really great exercise to track all the activities that you do over a week period. And you will notice that you will start self-correcting. You'll be like, oh yeah, this is probably not a good use of my time. I'm going to stop doing this. So it's a really great exercise. And that's an exercise that I have continuously come back to in my career. Whenever I've felt overwhelmed, I just start tracking what I'm doing. And that actually just shines a spotlight on the things that you need to stop doing. Okay, Jennifer, so you've worked with us for 3 years now. Mm-hmm. So tell me about your position and the work you do on our team, and then let's start there.
So I've been with Financial Freedom for a little over 3 years, And I was hired to come on and help with not only the people side and the culture side of the business, but also operations. And so they really blended together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been in that space for over 30 years, taking care of people and culture. So that's been a real natural fit. And that's really why I came to Financial Freedom, was because of the culture. It's really unlike any other culture I've worked at in all of my years in business and industry. And so for me, it's been so powerful to be a part of this culture and help this culture grow and thrive. And so it's exciting to be able to work with other businesses
Yeah.
and help replicate some of that, help gift them that same sense of, I think, joy and peace, knowing that you have a great team that can take you anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, I love that. And I do feel like that's the spirit you've brought to the team, is that you blending what we already had, but then also elevating it. And I think you're an advocate for our culture. So even like within the executive team, you're constantly bringing, you're representing the team and an advocate for them within our culture, which feels really great.
Yeah.
One thing I like to talk about that you've implemented in our company is the Thrive Index.
Ooh.
Yeah. So tell us what the Thrive Index is, because I think this is like a simple tool that you've implemented that is dedicated to the wellness of our team.
Most companies, each year they'll do an annual survey to see, it's more of a temperature survey and how the team's doing. We've decided to do this quarterly because we don't want to wait a year to find out that somebody's unhappy or they're not thriving and feeling fulfilled. So this quarterly Thrive Index is really about their last 90 days. Did they feel that, were they thriving and flourishing in their role? Did they feel trusted? And just, there's only 4 questions and an open-ended question, but it's just enough to get a little insight. And we don't stop there. It's not like we do a survey and then we forget it. It's we do the survey and then we work with team members to find out if maybe they didn't score as high on the index, then what can we do as a leadership team to help them? How can we turn that around for them so that next quarter they're thriving and flourishing again? So it's really exciting to keep our eye on the culture prize.
Yeah.
Because that's what keeps our engine running, is all the people.
Absolutely. And I would say the other thing we do is we share the results with the whole team. So every quarter we close down all of our offices, we get together as a team, and we go through our results. We talk about the Thrive Index. And I think that's just a really healthy environment that allows for that feedback and to be integrated and then make us better.
Yeah. Because when there's some areas of opportunity, we talk about it with the team.
Yeah.
And they have seen and made comments about how we listened. And we really took some action to turn those their Thrive Index around.
Yeah. Yeah. So I know you're working with one of our private entrepreneurs now, and you've really helped. I'm thinking of the hospitality company that we work with. And can you talk a little bit about how basically, like, it's a successful company, but they're like rebuilding their team essentially, and they're intentionally building their culture.
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that we've been doing to help them?
Well, I think the first thing is getting in the space of their culture and what they want and envisioning. And, in my role, I'm acting as if I'm a part of their team, immersing myself in that culture and what they want it to be. Right now, I'm spending more time on recruiting and helping them get the right talent in the door so their business can thrive, as well as some of the back end HR work, policies and handbooks, and all the little things that somebody who's hustling, they don't have time to do all those details and to track everything and schedule all these meetings and get the details done. And so that's really what we're doing. We're taking that heavy load off of them and getting that work done so they can be excited about growing and building and opening up their space.
Yeah. And I've been a part of a lot of like business coaching programs. And I think the difference between what we're offering and those programs is that we're actually helping the founders, the owners implement the strategies. So it's not something that you were just teaching them. It's actually we're coming inside of their business and being fractional executive partners to those owners based on all of our expertise and experience to really make sure that we're just not telling them what to do. We're showing them what to do. We're doing it with them to ensure that this is like building that foundation for success.
Yeah, we're creating the infrastructure.
Exactly.
The people infrastructure for them to be able to just fly on their own down the road.
I love that. Yeah.
Julia, I know something that's really important to you is the 1 billion for good. I'm going to let you talk about what that is and why is that so important to you?
Yeah. So there's a movement that I'm challenging entrepreneurs to be a part of in this book, and it's called the 1 billion for good, where essentially 1 billion for good is I want 1,000 entrepreneurs to take the frameworks, to take the strategies that I talk about in this book and grow and scale to 8 and 9-figure businesses. And while they're doing that, give $1 million to their favorite cause, to their favorite nonprofit. And I don't want them to wait until the exit to give the money. I want them to give along the way, because giving generously is a principle that I have embodied, my husband and I have embodied, and I really feel like it is a part of our success and our blessings. And so I want other entrepreneurs to feel that as well. And when you're giving, you are, it feels good to give, but on the other side of that, someone is receiving. And so, and the whole principle of firing yourself is allowing yourself to receive in that process too, because you're allowing others to come in and help. And so that giving and receiving is such an amazing principle in so many different ways that if we get 1,000 entrepreneurs to give $1 million, that's $1 billion for good in this world. And that will create a ripple effect that I'm excited to watch.
I have this feeling it's going to be more. So it's going to spread. The word's going to spread. So, Julia, in writing this book, Let's Get You Fired, what surprised you most?
Oh man, let's see. What surprised me the most? I think what surprised me the most is the whole surrender part was the hardest to write and get out because it's been such a journey for me. And so it's like I had to get it out in a way that was actually going to be helpful for others, where they could take my story, my lessons, and actually implement it for themselves. And so it's interesting. They say you have to experience your book. And even during this time, I was caught in overwhelm. Like I was caught on holding on to things that I could have let go, that I could have fired myself from. So it's like it's like I'm writing it for myself as much as I'm writing it for others. Yeah.
Right. You've been in business for 25 years. That's a pretty big milestone. Looking back, what would you tell yourself if you were in year 1 again?
I feel like, there was probably like, let me think about this. I would go back and tell Julia to fire herself quicker. And not just fire herself, but I was out to prove my worth in the world. I definitely was a rugged individualist in the beginning, where it was my way or the highway, and I just the team used to call me the hurricane. Like I would just come in and make a mess. And so I would have learned those lessons earlier, but and it wouldn't have taken me 12 years to finally get out of my own way. But I don't like to live my life with no regrets. So it's like I had to really learn this lesson to be able to now teach others.
That's great. If there was one chapter in the book that you would want to say to everybody, spend more time in that chapter, what chapter would that be?
I think it would be the sexy structure gets an upgrade. And I will say, because the the boring work of an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs don't like boring. Like, we like to be exciting, and we like to do the things that are fun. And
Mm-hmm.
creating structure and the discipline of creating a foundation is not fun. It's actually
Mm-hmm.
really boring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I call it sexy structure, because it's not sexy until you have it. And then it's the sexiest thing alive, because you realize that is the unlock. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing that gives you the freedom back. And
Mm-hmm.
so a lot of, creatives, visionaries, they don't want to spend the time there, but that's the very thing that they need that unlocks everything else.
Right. Good.
Yeah.
So if I'm a new entrepreneur, I just started my own business, how would this book help me?
Yeah, I think it would help, because in starting a business, everyone has to hustle.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a difference between a healthy hustle and a toxic hustle.
Mm-hmm.
And so knowing the difference, I think, is really important as you're starting out in business. And I think also having the awareness to the different stages of business. You have hustle, you have surrender, you have harmony, you have legacy. And so if I knew that, like, I developed this because I went through all those stages, but if I knew how to get myself out of hustle and into surrender, or out of surrender into harmony faster, I would have. And so I think it's like it's a roadmap for entrepreneurs, but it doesn't get around hustle. I think we all have to hustle, but it doesn't have to be to your detriment.
Right. It doesn't have to be the toxic hustle.
Exactly. I'm Julia Carlson, and this is my new book, Let's Get You Fired: How Entrepreneurs Can Scale to 8 Figures by Letting Go and Leading with Vision. It's available now on Amazon.com, and you can learn more on my website at thejuliacarlson.com.